Hello, it's Aiden here, and today we are looking at Lead Freak. Hello, it's Aiden, and welcome to the Lead Freak Show. Now, today I'm going to talk to you about the perfect prospecting blueprint, which I go a deep dive into my upcoming book, Lead Freak. But what is the perfect prospecting blueprint, and why is it perfect? Well, that's what kind of leads me into the conversation. Now, lead generation and prospecting kind of go together when people are speaking about the process. But really, I see sales and marketing in a couple different ways. Now, they're similar, there's crossovers, but they're three distinctive categories, three distinctive traits. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, lead generation is a way to get leads and to create those leads and help those leads, really it's called suspects because it's just a name, and taking them from unknown, just a name and an idea and a potential customer profile that you have, and you get that lead and you try to develop that lead so that they've gone from unaware to aware to familiar with you, and now that they are a warm lead in the sense that it's now time to pass that lead off from marketing, really, or a marketing mindset. You could be working for the same company. You could be a salesperson, B2B. You could be an entrepreneur that owns your own business, and you have these distinctive hats. And that's how you need to think of them. Lead generation, prospecting, sales. Lead generation, prospecting, sales, i.e. closing. Okay? But when you are just getting a suspect to a lead and warming them up, taking them from unaware to aware, that is lead generation. We also do lead nurturing in that. Once that lead becomes familiar with you, they are sales ready, then what we do is we reach out to that person. Once we get a meeting, sales takes over. And sales is now prospecting. They're now going to do what they need to do to get that lead. It's going to be however they do that. It could be webinars, it could be door knocking, it could be phoning, it could be texting, it could be a whole bunch of things. But it's going from someone is now aware who you are, so now they are a warm prospect. They've gone from cold to someone that you think might be able to do business with you to someone that can do business with you. They know who you are, they know what you do. Now it's time to go from one to many, top of funnel, to the middle of the funnel. And prospecting is really more for the middle of the funnel, meaning you've gone from one to many to one. And that is where sales reaches out and tries to get a meeting. Okay, so you've gone from marketing, now sales gets involved. Now, that should be, could be, might be someone different. Marketing does lead generation. The sales team is, the person is now ready for sales to get involved. Sales gets involved. They start outreaching on a one-to-one basis more, making a phone call, making an email, reaching out through social media, trying to get an appointment. And now you get the appointment, and that's when sales really takes over, or closing. Right? A sale is a close. You know, unless you're closing, you're not selling. So you're creating the interest. You're confirming the interest. Now sales gets involved when on a one-to-one basis, and now starts to be able to do their discovery, their questions, and everything the salesperson does to take someone from a warm, interested, we might be a fit person to a client. That's where sales gets involved. Sales should not be doing lead generation and even prospecting for the most part in today's day and age. So let's talk about the perfect prospecting process. Now, the first thing we need to do is we need to get leads, right? Now, we don't need to do what I used to do when I first started in the industry. What I used to do, I took my black bag, because that's how I was taught. I had my samples and brochures. I got out of my car. I walked up and down an industrial boulevard, or up and down the streets, walking into businesses, saying hi, and trying to find the person. Now, there was no other possibility at that point except potentially go through the thick yellow pages and just be calling people. And you could do that, and there were people that did that for magazine subscriptions, things like that. But that was it was completely different. There was a very time consuming to do that. The other thing is people would then place ads in marketing in newspapers and TV and banners and things like that to get in front of somebody. Right? That was the lead generation part. So there were three distinctive separate skill sets, but sales would do that and had to do that because there wasn't the internet and there wasn't tools and there wasn't even cell phones. So in today's day and age, we can easily find the leads. That doesn't take much more than a few seconds online, finding your customer avatar and going after them using tools that we can talk about in future segments. Now, lead capture, that's more your inbound. You need to have an inbound strategy. That could be a webinar, a landing page, what have you, but you don't want people going to your website in most circumstances. Why? Because a website is a whole bunch of shiny little objects that is going to just overwhelm people in most circumstances. They're going to click in and they're going to click out. We want a landing page or a webinar page, a page where someone lands to and they do one thing. You ask one thing. Give me your contact information and I will give you this. Give me your contact information and I will give you this. That is what every company needs to have. And if you're working and you're in B2B sales, your company needs to have that, or it's going to put you behind the 8 ball, because if a customer does find you on social media, they do go to your profile, if they do go to your website, it's probably got 5, 6, 7 different things to click, contact us, all of these things, and it's going to lose the customer. And most of us don't have a business model like Amazon, where we go back all the time to repurchase and things like that. We go once and then we forget about it and we never go again. Okay. So, but what we really want to do when we start prospecting is, regardless if we're getting our leads, how we're getting our leads, lead capture, lead finding, we need to understand what our story is. What's our message? We have to have a message. We have to have a message. Straight up. We have to have a message. Why do we have to have a message? We have to have a message because nobody wants to hear about your product or service. No one gives a shiz about your product or service. What we want is a story about what your product service delivers and how it helps me, the customer. What does it do? How is it going to improve my life? Now, in a B2B world, we want to make that around value and around how to impact someone's, your company's, your prospect's company's value creation process. There's only 2 ways to do that: their value proposition or their value chain. Value proposition is the demand side, value chain is the supply side. We need to have a story that's going to impact one or more of those financial measures that is going to either help them increase revenues or decrease expenses, or potential expenses such as lawsuits, things like that. So we need to be able to think and have stories that come in the form of percentages and dollar volumes and ratios and things of this nature. That's what we have to. We have to have a story of outcomes. Nobody gives a shiz about your product. Nobody. Okay, in rare circumstances, if you've created the Apple iPhone as an example for the first time, it was brand new, revolutionary, bam, absolutely. You have a unique product, everyone's going to want it. You did a great job with your research and development, you created the product, you put the product out there, okay, you are unique. That is very rare. Most products or services someone can get somewhere else faster, cheaper, better than you can do it. So we don't want to be focused on our product or service when we focus on the outcomes. And we'll get into that in later sections, later later categories, later shows. Now, you need to have a hub. You need to have some type of software SaaS program, so software as a service. You have to have some type of a program in place to allow you to quarterback, run, manage your lead generation process. Now, there are so many. Of course, I advocate LeadFreak, but there's so many. There's MailChimp, there's a ConvertKit, there's Aweber, there's GetResponse, there's Salesforce, there's HubSpot, there's Infusionsoft. There's so many different programs that you can do. But we want to make sure that we have a program that's going to be easy and it's going to help us drive sales as quickly as possible. So that's what we need to do. That's what we need. We need something. So you need to find a program like this because this is going to automate everything. It's going to make your life so much easier. You'll wonder what you did without it. Okay. Now, when the selling really gets involved is we really have a few things we do. So we get the leads, we have our story, we put it into a system, and the system automatically starts sending out emails in most circumstances to your target market. The first email is going to be something along the lines of, hey Bob, are you the person in charge of? The second email is going to be, hey Bob, I just want to follow up on my thing the other day. We represent XYZ and have a link. Third email, hey Bob, right? Hey, and this is going to continue over 30 days. Right? You have done nothing. You've sourced the names. You've made sure you've got the names. You made sure that they're in your customer avatar. They have the job title you're after. They're in the state, province that you're after, and you allow the system to work with the 30-day prospecting templates. It's just basically emails with a subject line, a hook, some type of a story, and some type of call to action. A hook, a metaphor, a parable, a story, something of relevance to them, and then a call to action. Click here, buy this, download here, whatever it might be, is some type of micro commitment. That's what we're wanting. And we'd like to do this over 30 days. Now, as this is happening over 30 days, we are measuring, the systems are measuring what that person is doing. Do they never open it? Do they open up every second, third, fourth email? Do they open up every email? Do they click every link? Do they watch every video? As they do these little micro commitments, open, click, download, read, watch, you are mathematically scoring them. We are mathematically scoring them, and we are creating a lead score, analytics of that prospect. Now, after 30 days, they're probably not ready for you to reach out to. You definitely do that. Hey, Bob, I'd like to meet with you about XYZ. But in most circumstances, they're not going to do that. But we're analyzing, are they watching? Are they clicking? Are they doing? What are they doing? After the 30 days, they flip over to a lead nurture, or some call it drip marketing. This is a once a week content that goes out to them in the form of articles, videos, downloads, things of that nature. It's educational marketing, educational content that's going to educate them and make them aware of what you can do, what the industry is, what the pain points are, things that they don't know, that you can fix, that you can help, that you can improve. That's what we want to do. We want to do the 30 days, then we want to do lead nurture for 30 days, and that keeps on going. The lead nurture, 30 days, 60 days, that goes for the whole year. But, or until the customer opts out, until you get a meeting, one of the two. But, when the customer demonstrates a level of interest, then we're going to reach out to them. Most of the time, people aren't going to reach out to you. They're not going to pick up the phone and say, oh my God, where have you been all my life? Now, if you get them into where they watch a webinar and they click things and stuff, you can definitely have it where they set up meetings with you and things like that. And you want to have that as your inbound strategy, even though you're doing outbound, to get them on the inbound when they click and sign up for a webinar or a landing page or an ebook, whatever that might be. Because that's another micro commitment. It's a higher commitment. But 90% of the time, 95% of the time, they're going to have gone from unknown to known to, that's interesting. And unless they have a absolutely bad wound, unless they're in a massive amounts of pain, Perry Marshall in 80-20 marketing calls it the bleeding neck. Unless they have an absolute gashing bleeding neck, right? They're not going to phone you to ask you for a Band-Aid, ask you for stitches. When someone has do that, when they do it, it's usually, it's in dire straits. They've just lost massive customers. Their margins are down huge, and they need a fix. And now it's a top priority. Most people are comfortable with the status quo. Most people are comfortable as shit runs downward. So unless their boss is on them, they're not doing anything. But you have taken them from unknown to known, and you are creating interest and intrigue and familiarity with you through the content you have done. And on the back end, you can see what they're watching, what they're clicking, if they're coming to your website. We are gaining analytics on these people. The ones that have demonstrated a level of interest, the ones that have demonstrated that that their lead score has hit a criteria or a point level that it makes sense for us to reach out, that's what we're going to do. We're going to reach out. That's when we start switching from lead generation to prospecting. Now, we'll talk about that in depth on Prospecting Freak segment, but we're going to reach out to them in all the means possible to try to get a meeting. Now, you will start getting some meetings with this, but the people need to know you and become more and more familiar with you. So after 30 days or 60 days, 8, 10 emails, and outreaches, they only know so much about you. They're only so familiar with you. You're not even necessarily in their consciousness that if someone walked into their office and said, oh my God, we need this right away, you're not even at the point where they would go, oh, this guy. For some people you would be, but not yet. We need to become part of their consciousness. They need to become familiar with us. They need to have a level of trust, and they need to know you. They need to know who you are. They need to respect you and go, this guy can do it when that pain comes. Now, as they get to know you more, they're going to be more receptive to returning your phone call, returning your voicemail, returning your emails, accepting a calendar invite, whatever it might be. But that takes time. The data on the amount of times it takes to reach out to somebody to get a meeting is over 18 times now. So don't think for a second that you're going to get a meeting by picking up the phone and phoning. You're not. The data is overwhelming, and anyone that tells you any different probably teaches it, and that's their bread and butter. Now, there are exceptions to every rule. I'm not painting a complete blanket statement with this. There are industries and stuff like that that make sense to call. If you are in a small geographical area and you're in a town of 500,000 people, and then there's probably only a certain amount of people that are going to fit going after your business and stuff like that, yeah, you would email them and phone them because you don't, your pool's very small. You can manage to maybe call those 30, 40 people over a month, and you could keep doing that. But on the grand scale of things, people aren't going to take your phone calls. How many times does your phone ring? You look at it, you say, I don't know that number, I'm not taking it. Why aren't you going to take it? Because you don't know. It's probably someone trying to sell you something that you don't want, so you don't take the call. Right? You're not sitting there going, oh my God, it's the IRS, they're probably after me. In most circumstances, you're like, I don't know that number, I'm not going to take it. I don't know, I don't want to be stuck, Okay, then you listen to the phone call, the message. You go, oh, it's Bob. I didn't realize that's his number. You call Bob back. Or you're like, no, that's that Aiden guy trying to sell something. Yeah, no. But there comes a time So this is a long game, and in that long game, there are successes along the way, and then there's more successes as you move along the grid, as you move along. So the prospecting process just continues. You do 30 days prospecting campaign, then it switches to lead nurture. You stop doing the prospecting emails for 30, 60 days. You reach out to people as they score. If they're watching the weekly content and they keep, then as their score gets bigger and they hit a certain threshold, you phone them. But after 30 days of lead nurture, 60 days after lead nurture, they go back into the prospecting campaign. They're still getting the nurture videos, the nurture emails, the email marketing, but now you're going back to the prospecting emails. So you go back to that. They're still getting the lead nurture now. You go 30 days, you stop, just lead nurture for 30, 60 days. They don't get any prospecting, back into prospecting. And every single time you're getting these people, and you're getting anywhere between roughly 10 to 15%. So if you have 1,000 people, the first round, you're getting about 100 people clicking, right? And clicking regularly. And then the next time, now you're getting another, now you got 900, right? So now you got another 90 or so clicking. And you keep on and as you put more leads into the system, you have more people that you're warming up and reaching out to. So lead generation needs to be automated. It's top of the funnel. These are cold suspects that you're trying to determine if they have a level of interest, if they're a right fit. Why would you spend the man hours, the woman hours, the time, the effort to pick up the phone and phone these people when you're going to get maybe 10 people on the phone for every 100 calls? Maybe. It's the data is overwhelming. It's about 1/3 of 1% as far as getting appointments go. So it's not a sustainable process. It's something that you have to do if you are not known. But we found a loophole here. We can get the names. We don't have to just keep on pushing off massive amounts of advertising and they sign up for our newsletter. We definitely want to do that. Or our webinar. We definitely want to do that. Or Facebook ads and stuff. We definitely want to do that. But we can now sit back and say, okay, here's all the veterinarians in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. Boom. And get those names in a matter of minutes. Validate those names. And then reach out to them asking for a meeting and lead generation, trying to get that meeting. So that's what lead generation is. This is the perfect prospecting process because you are automating top of the funnel. Top of the funnel, think of it as lead generation. Middle of the funnel, think of it as prospecting. And bottom of the funnel, think of that as conversion, right? Closing. Sales. Now you're getting sales involved. You're doing a meeting, you're doing a walkthrough, you're doing a tour of their facility. You are spending that time, that sweat equity. But so are they. So is your prospect, right? As there becomes an interest, as sales gets involved, you're spending more time, the customer is spending more time, and you're mutually moving towards a endpoint that you're promising your prospect. Improve this, reduce this. So ultimately, you're going to get, so you get to lead conversion, right? So get the leads, create a story, have some type of system in place like Lead Freak or something, put the leads into the system and let automation go. 30 days of a prospecting cadence, prospecting process, then 30 to 60 days of lead nurture, drip marketing, then back to prospecting, back to lead nurture, back to prospecting, lead nurture, back to prospecting, lead nurture. Reach out to the ones that are opening, clicking, showing, demonstrating a level of interest. And so what you're doing is you're taking a huge pool and narrowing it down to the ones that are most likely sales ready. So to think of it like this, if you are in a room of 1,000 people, you walk in, and you're trying to figure out and you're a mechanic, you're trying to figure out all the people that might need their car fixed, that have a car problem right now. What are you going to do? Go ask 1,000 people? You know how long it's going to take you? However, if your buddy came up to you and says, hey, I was just talking to that person right there, and their car is broken down. They can't get it fixed. What are you going to do? You're going to walk up to that person, and you know they have a problem because you've got the feedback, the data, and now it's your sales ability and your sales skills to help them solve that problem because they have a bleeding neck. Automate. Hope you found this of value. I will see you in the next episode every Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time. Grab a free copy of my book, Lead Freak, in the description below. Just pay for shipping. Talk to you soon.